This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Blak Magus, and it's been an interesting week in college basketball, in particular because of the comments that Mike Krzyzewski made earlier this week. So, basically, if you don't remember, you don't know, Mike Krzyzewski made comments questioning whether or not they should be playing college basketball right now, considering that we're in a period of the year where many experts have said that this is going to be one of the worst winters as far as COVID is concerned. They felt that you were going to see a lot more cases escalate quicker than it had been all year long, or that they have known from last year before it hit the United States. And he was concerned about players' mental health and whether or not it's a good thing to have them in this type of situation, considering the fact that they're not paid players and, they're kids. So, of course, people had something to say about that. In particular, Nate Oates, who didn't say anything but is now everybody's hero and has put Alabama basketball on the map, oddly enough, by answering a question from a reporter. The reporter asked him about Mike Krzyzewski's comments, and he fired back with a question. Do you think that had he not lost two games to two ranked opponents in a row at home, that he would even make those comments? And the reporter said no, and he was like, good. I'm glad you said it, not me. Okay. It's really not a fair comment. And I'm going to say this so everybody can just dismiss this video and turn it off now. I am a Duke basketball fan. That being said, if you know me, you know that I don't play favorites, especially as things like this, especially with something as serious as this matter. Like, I did not agree with Mike Krzyzewski about playing the tournament, and I still don't agree that the tournament should have went on as it were scheduled. I do agree with his assessment later on that perhaps they should have came up with a better solution to where they could have done things maybe over the summer in kind of a bubble, probably follow the NBA's map, and then wait until next spring to actually start, or wait until at least January. I believe, I can't remember if he said January to spring to start an actual new season after we've got past this bad period. But what he said wasn't wrong. Like, having concern for your players and having questions about this wasn't a bad thing. But of course, it's Mike Krzyzewski. We have to remember, Duke is not a very well liked team. Everybody hates Duke in college basketball. I don't know what it is. I don't know what started it. But there's just this overall, like, long lasting hatred for Duke. They're like the poster boys for everything that's despised in college basketball. Not sure why. I've never really understood. Like, I could understand hating Christian Laettner for what he did. Like, that chest stomp thing, that was some bullshit. Weak. He's a punk. People who say that they get calls that other people don't get, so do a lot of other programs. We've seen many top programs get away with things over the years. Like, it's just the nature of the beast. When you're one of the top people, you're going to get calls. It's not like Duke is considered the greatest historical program in college basketball. There's many other teams that hold that rank way before Duke even comes into question. As far as whether or not they're one of those historic teams. I don't get it, but I do get it in a way. People need something to fixate and hate on, and there needs to be a villain. Always has to be a villain, and Duke's the villain. All right, cool, fair enough. That's how you look at it. But when it comes to something like this, you shouldn't take, like they say, don't look at the messenger and look at the message. Because as the week has progressed and as we all like sit here trying to act like we give a fuck about Nate Oates, many other coaches have started to come out and started to question, like, yo, something's wrong with this. Like, this ain't right. We have too much shit going on. And we've seen it play out in cancellation of games. Duke decided after, like, Mike Krzyzewski comments to suspend all of their non-conference games at least, so they wouldn't have to travel. And as Scott Van Pelt said on Sports Center, before all y'all think that he's ducking people, everybody they played was pretty much a poor, like, cupcake. They were cupcake games, and they were just to, like, get them ready for the ACC season. That's what they do. They start heavy in the beginning of the year. During the holiday season, they play a bunch of, like, soft teams so they can just, like, get some work in, and then they start the ACC season. That's what they were going to do. So it's not like they're ducking Gonzaga or anything like that. So calm down. Although the narrative is always going to play that way because, again, it's Duke and it's Mike Krzyzewski, so y'all going to hate it. But other teams are now bringing this into question. And then we've seen a very, very scary moment play out where a player from the University of Florida, near the end of the game, he passed out. And he is in critical but stable condition right now in the hospital. Now, they don't know exactly what caused it, but they're thinking that he has some type of heart condition. And the reason why they think he has this heart condition is because over the summer, he was one of the people on that team who tested positive for COVID-19. And there's a specific, I forget the exact name, so forgive me. There's a specific heart disease that they've seen develop in people post COVID-19. People who've had it, beaten it, but have this lingering condition due to it because of how heavy it hit them. So you take all of this into consideration and you go back, and if you possibly can, dispel your hatred for Duke and Mike Krzyzewski, the man was right. There has to come up with a plan. And the thing is, again, we've seen many other coaches echo that because they are saying, hey, there's actually really no plan. You have a bunch of people who are coming up with ideas, but nobody's really coming up with a solid, like, plan of how to go forward, how to adjust. What do we do if this happens and all that? It seems like a lot of people are admitting that it's chaos. Now, the Alabama coach went on to say, we just got to live life. And actually, I think I have the comments right here that he said, humans, they're not made to sit alone in isolation for weeks on end. We have to be careful on how we do life, but we still have to do life. Nobody's asking, like, for you to just totally isolate players from, like, again, Mike Krzyzewski said he felt like his players need to be with their family right now more than anything and not worried about basketball because this is scary times. So he wasn't even suggesting that. So I found that a weird outtake from that because, again, it had nothing to do with what was said. It just happened to have everything to do with who was saying it. You know what I mean? So it just they amplified points that weren't even brought up in the whole thing to continually pour on. Which is, we do that way too much in society. Like, seriously. As much as I hate certain people, if you come up with a good point, like, particularly, like, sports, like, there are plenty of players, teams, if someone on the Cowboys had a legitimate point, like, I would take that point because my fandom isn't important, especially if it's something like this that involves life. And that's the thing. This is something that we haven't taken very serious in this country. And it's understandable for a coach like Nate Oates, who just got the job, who didn't do so well his first year, and who's looking to build on that to keep his job and build momentum. It makes sense for somebody like him to have disdain for this stuff like this because it's about his personal livelihood right now. But it kind of shows that it's not about the kids at all. And I've seen other big coaches, and I've seen they said Rick Pitino was questioning that. We've seen Jeff Capel come out and question. It's a bunch of people. It's like, yeah, you know, we got to do something that makes more sense and keep this stable because, yeah, everybody wants to see sports. Everybody wants to see basketball go on, but you got to do it in a smart way, or to take the comments that everybody's gushing over Oates. We have to be careful how we do life, but we still have to do life. The question is, are we being as careful as we can be? And that is what's on the table. That is the discussion. And I think that's the part that Oates missed, and I think a lot of other people have missed. Like, especially the big point about these aren't paid professionals. It's one thing for the NBA, the NFL, NHL to play. They have to take their union and discuss it with the league, and then they have to take it to their players, and the players have to sign off. Look at the NFL with all the players getting sick over this season. That was agreed upon by them to not do a bubble. They did not want to do a bubble. They agreed to do what they needed to do to stay safe. And if they didn't, they'll, have repercussions. They'll have to sit out. We've seen teams lose draft picks because their players haven't been doing the right thing. But that's what they signed off on as professionals. These kids, they're just doing what they're being told by adults. And I don't understand why you're criticizing an adult for actually having the wherewithal and honestly the compassion that he doesn't need to have, because we've seen it in college football where you got the coach of Clemson talking about teams are ducking them and they're using COVID as an excuse, like silly shit like that. um, the fact that this guy who's getting paid a lot of money is willing to step up and say that is, in a way, you gotta say admirable, because he don't need that. It's not like the record needs to be protected. I mean, this man has the most wins in college basketball. He's been there forever. He's won 5 titles. He can kind of have a sucky season, and he can go pretty much 0 for 30 probably, and ain't nothing happening to him. He's pretty cushy. He's pretty safe, let's say, when it comes to record. So I don't get why it was such a big deal. Why it was such flack. Like, it's an important thing to bring up, and it's something that needs to be discussed because, again, these are crazy times. We're getting the vaccine, but the vaccine's not going to necessarily eradicate it like as soon as everybody takes it. You still need to kind of get over the huge spread of things and get it under control. And we've never tried to do that in this country. We've never tried to mitigate the circumstances and control this and get it to a point where the vaccine isn't like our only hope, like Canada has done, like Italy has done, like Germany has done, like other countries have done, where they've controlled it, they contained it, they've gotten it to a minimum, and now when the vaccine comes in, it's going to help make the control even better. We're running rampant here in this country, and people need to take a look at what's going on and answer these hard questions and have discussions like this. But it is what it is. I just hope all these young people are safe. I hope you guys can get over the fact that it's Mike Krzyzewski that said it and kind of pay attention to what the message is. And I hope everybody just do the right thing and do what's best for each other. That's the bottom line of everything. Like, we need to get through this, and things need to get better. My state's my not my state, but my county in particular is going to be modifying things. We're going to limit people and the things they can do again, because over 10% of the people are now getting it, and getting it in this county, and it's like, yeah, it's blowing up. Stop it. It's just wild. It's just wild. Anyway, as always, you guys feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Blak Magus, and I'm out. Deuces.